In the past, there lived a wealthy man. The wealthy man had 3 sons and 3 daughters. The wealthy man called his eldest son and said, "My son, after I die, you will divide the estate. Your elder brother will be with you. The tiger will not attack your property, and afterwards you can give your brother to the tiger. When you go out to seek your fortune, if you come across a vast plain, you should camp there." The wealthy man called his second son and said, "After I die, you will be the leader of your middle brother with your rightful estate. The wolf will not attack your property, and then you can give your brother to the wolf. But when you go out to seek your fortune, you should not camp in the reeds." The wealthy man called his youngest son and said, "After I die, you will take your youngest brother with your share of the estate. The fox will not attack your property, and then you can give your brother to the fox. But when you go out to seek your fortune, you should camp in the holy place." One day, the wealthy man passed away. The animals the father had mentioned, the tiger, the wolf, and the fox, did not harm the son's properties. The 3 brothers kept giving their brothers to the tiger, the wolf, and the fox, respectively. In less than a year, the 3 brothers had exhausted their father's entire estate. The eldest brother said to his 2 younger brothers, "We have used up the estate our father left us. Now let's go seek our fortune." They set out, taking with them the only black sword their father had left behind, not knowing whether they would become friends or enemies. They continued their journey through the night, and as evening fell, they came upon a vast open field. The 2 younger brothers decided to camp there, as their father had instructed. The eldest brother, holding the black sword their father had left behind, kept watch, wondering what might be in store. In the middle of the night, the eldest brother saw a giant approaching. He stepped forward and fought the giant, slashing him with the sword and taking the giant's golden dagger. The next morning, they set off again. As they traveled during the day, they came to a dense reed field in the evening. There, the middle and youngest brothers insisted on camping, while the eldest brother reluctantly joined them. The middle brother, remembering their father's words, kept watch with the black sword. In the middle of the night, a fierce storm arose. After the storm, the youngest brother spotted a hissing dragon. He bravely confronted the dragon, taking the sword and cutting off the dragon's outer skin, which he then tied around his waist. The next day, as they continued their journey, they came upon a large holy site. The youngest brother did not want to camp there, but the older brothers forced him. The youngest brother, remembering their father's instructions, kept watch with the sword. In the middle of the night, the youngest brother saw a shimmering light. He investigated and found a stitched-up house. Inside, he discovered 3 sleeping girls with a golden cup, golden pitcher, and tea boiling on a samovar. Wanting to leave a sign, he quietly took the golden cup and put it in his pocket before continuing on his way. As the 3 brothers continued their journey, they came across the tracks of a camel. At this point, the eldest brother, after traveling a bit further, the middle brother said, "It looks like the camel's right eye is blind." A little while later, the youngest brother said, "One side of the camel is loaded with bricks, the other with cotton, and it has a pregnant belly on top." Soon after, a rider approached them. "Excuse me, did you happen to see my camel?" he asked. The eldest brother stood up and said, "Was the camel's tusk broken?" "Yes, it was broken," the camel's owner replied. The middle brother then said, "And was the camel's right eye blind?" "Yes, that's right," the man said. The youngest brother said, "And was one side loaded with bricks and the other with cotton, with a pregnant belly on top?" "Ah, So it was you, the lost man exclaimed. He then took the three brothers to the king, saying, I lost my camel, and these men describe its exact condition, but they won't return it to me. Standing before the king, the man said, I lost my camel, and these men know its exact details, but they refuse to give it back to me. The king then asked the brothers, Did you see the camel? No, your majesty. We only saw its tracks, they replied. Based on the tracks, we deduced the camel's condition as follows. The middle brother then explained. The middle brother explained, I thought the camel was grazing on the left side of the road, and not the right, which is why its right eye seemed blind. The youngest brother said, I saw that the camel had knelt down somewhere. I could see flies swarming around where it had knelt. And when the rider got up, I noticed one side was loaded with bricks, and the other with cotton, and there was a pregnant woman on top. The king gestured to the vizier, who brought a turned-over cup. If you are perceptive, what is under this cup? The vizier asked. The eldest brother said, There is a round object under the cup. The middle brother said, Though round, it is black in color. The youngest brother said, If it is round and black, then it must be a fig. When they lifted the cup, it was indeed a fig. The king dismissed the camel's owner and invited the three brothers to be his guests that evening. He had food and drink served, closely observing what the brothers said. After the king left, the eldest brother said, It seems we are the son of the king. The middle brother said, The wine we were served was made from human blood. The youngest brother said, And the food we ate was made from dog meat. The servant who had tended the fire then went to the king and told him what the brothers had said. The king drew his sword and went to confront them. Tell me, whose son am I? He demanded. The mother, frightened, confessed, My lord, I am the queen. I have never borne a son. The wife of our neighbor also became pregnant at the same time as I. We had an agreement that if she had a son and I a daughter, we would exchange them. I gave birth to a girl, and she to a boy. We switched the children. So it is true, my lord, that you are the son of our neighbor. The king then asked the wine seller, Did you add something to the wine? No, my lord, I did not add anything. I made it from wheat and mulberries, the seller replied. The king then went to the man who had given the lamb. Whose lamb is this? He asked. Frightened, the man said, It is my own lamb, my lord. On the day it was born, its mother also gave birth. Since the young lamb could not nurse, I had my own goat feed it, nothing more. The king then returned to the guests. Well, guests, how did you know I was the son of our neighbor? He asked.
We realized you were the baker's son because you folded it in half and stuffed it in your mouth. We eat one by one. That's why I called you the baker's son, he said. How did you know the wine you drank was taken from humans? He asked. The middle one said, After drinking the wine, my stomach felt very poisonous. That's why I thought it was taken from humans. How did you know the lamb you ate was born from a dog? Asked the king to the youngest. After eating the food, my stomach growled like a dog. That's why I thought it came from a dog, said the child. The king said, Your words are true. You are truly insightful. That day, the king stayed there as their guest. At midnight, the youngest brother woke up and saw there was a strong storm. When the youngest brother grabbed his sword and ran out, he saw it was the breath of a dragon causing the storm. The boy cut the dragon in half. After that, when he was about to put the sword back in its sheath, the sword made a clanging sound. At that moment, the king woke up and, thinking the boy was going to strike him, grabbed the boy's hand. No, sir, I wasn't trying to kill you. I just came back from slaying a dragon that was breathing, he said. The king didn't believe the boy's words. However, when dawn broke and the king went outside, he saw a dead dragon. The king, realizing they had spoken the truth, took the guests to the palace and asked what circumstances they had encountered. Then the eldest brother told the words his father had said before dying, and placed before the king the knife with which he had killed the giant. The middle brother text appears to be cut off about their father's death in a reedy place. He told his words and spoke about killing the dragon on the way and taking its outer belt, placing the belt before the king. The youngest brother told about meeting 3 girls when he stayed at the shrine and stealing their golden cup, and he also placed the golden cup before the king. Those 3 girls were this king's daughters. He had them stay at a distant shrine so no human could see them. When the king learned that they had seen his daughters, he married his 3 daughters to the 3. Adil brought the old woman home. Adil's wife was a clever woman. As soon as the old woman entered the house, she recognized that it was actually a man. Adil, you made a mistake, bringing this old woman home. This isn't an old woman, but a man. But Adil didn't listen to his wife's words, scolding her. What are you talking about? How could an old woman be a man? So the old woman stayed in Adil's house, coming in with the firewood and going out with the ashes. This old woman was actually someone called the 3-horned beardless one, just as the girl had suspected. The horned beardless one had a 3-legged horse that flew through the sky rather than walking on the ground. One day, evil entered the 3-horned beardless one's heart, and calling his 3-legged horse, he put the girl on the horse while Adil was sleeping and ran away with her. When Adil woke in the morning, he saw that both his wife and the old woman in his house were gone.
Adil was amazed and remembered his wife's warning, realizing that the one he brought home as an old woman was actually a man. Thinking, "This trouble is of my own making," he decided not to search on horseback, but on foot. Putting on a wanderer's clothes, he set out to search for his wife. After traveling for many days, he came to a village where, from among a group of children, one child came forward saying, "Oh, my uncle is coming," and went ahead of him. Adil, wondering, "What nephew is this of mine?" followed the child. The child entered a house, and Adil followed. Inside, he saw his sister who had been given to the tiger, and they cried and greeted each other warmly. As the sun set and dusk fell, Adil saw the tiger groaning as it entered. At that time his sister went out to the tiger and said, "A guest has come to the house, take off your shroud and come." The tiger went back out, removed its shroud, and entered the house as a young man. Adil thought, "We thought we gave our sister to a tiger, but he turns out to be a brave young man." The story continues with Adil's journey to find his wife, visiting his other sisters who were married to a wolf and a fox, each of whom had also transformed from animals into handsome young men. Each brother-in-law gives him information about his wife being taken by the 3-horned beardless one, having heard her cries of "Adil, Adil" in the sky. The fox brother-in-law, who was described as a clever and cunning sorcerer, was mentioned as someone who might know where to find her. That night when I went outside, I heard something descending from above, crying, "Adil, Adil," as if falling to the ground. That must have been your wife. In this mountain lives the 3-horned beardless one, who has been here for many years. He has a 3-legged horse that's faster than any flying bird. The 3-horned beardless one is a mighty warrior. He will catch up to you, grab you by the neck, take you up into the sky, throw you to the ground, and take your wife back. "Maybe you shouldn't go, brother," he said. "No, I must go. I will go once," he said. "Well then, I have nearly 1,000 horses. Take whichever one you want, take your weapons, and go if you must. Take the risk. If you die, I will help you," he said. The fox took him to his horses by the lake and caught and gave Adil his chosen horse. Adil mounted and followed his fox brother-in-law through the mountains. When they reached a certain place, the fox said, "Well, brother, I'm going back." The 3-horned beardless one's house is at the foot of this mountain. He's probably gone hunting. Go and take your wife and run. Adil went to the place his brother-in-law indicated and reached the 3-horned beardless one's house. He saw his wife sitting there. They embraced and greeted each other. "Come, let's go now. I've brought a horse," he said. His wife agreed. Adil put his wife on the horse behind him and fled. The three-horned beardless one had gone hunting. When he returned in the evening, he saw his wife was gone. He saw the tracks of a horseman who had come to his house. He realized Adil had come and taken his wife. Then the beardless one mounted his three-legged horse and chased after Adil. He caught up with Adil at a certain place. The beardless one lifted Adil off his horse, took him up high, and threw him down. After falling from such a height, Adil died where he fell. The three-horned beardless one took the woman back home. The fox had no peace. While wandering between mountains, he found a corpse. When he gathered and examined the body, it resembled Adil. The fox quickly recited prayers and breathed life into him, bringing Adil back to his former self. "Didn't I tell you, brother, that it would be difficult to take the wife from the three-horned beardless one? Didn't my words come true?" he said. The story continues with them devising a plan to learn where the three-horned beardless one got his three-legged horse, which involves the wife asking him about it. The beardless one reveals that he got it by burning a circular mountain for 3 days, entering a crack that appeared, finding white yurts inside with a piebald mare and her foal, stealing the foal while being chased by 4 dogs, throwing 3 sheep to 3 dogs, but the 4th dog bit off one of the foal's legs, thus creating the three-legged horse. Using this knowledge, Adil follows the same process and obtains the mother of the three-legged horse. When they try to escape on this horse, the three-horned beardless one pursues them, but the three-legged horse recognizes its mother's neighing and throws its rider to the ground, killing him. The three-legged horse then descends to nurse from its mother. Finally, Adil and his wife visit his brothers-in-law, the fox, wolf, and tiger, who give them gifts and send them on their way. They return home safely and live happily, achieving their goals and desires.